Life's real, serious, and beautiful.
H is for Hawk is the award-winning film adaptation of the memoir by Helen MacDonald and, like Penguin Lessons, is also biographical and has a bird in it, in this case a goshawk, called Mabel. That is where the similarity ends. While Penguin Lessons was set in South America against a turbulent political backcloth, H is for Hawk is set primarily in the quiet university town of Cambridge, where Helen lectures. If you haven't read the book already, the film follows the true story of a woman who sets out to train a goshawk in the wake of her father's sudden death. Her father's demise is untimely and leaves her distracted, unable to make key decisions on career, place, relationships. Training Mabel the goshawk offers, initially at least, a form of therapy, but gradually we see her lose herself in the goshawk world, while shutting herself off from the outer world. I was invited to preview it and shared thoughts with Arnold Anthony Schmidt, Professor Emeritus of California State University, playwright, film reviewer, and podcast producer.
Dad, I just saw a pair of hawks.
A pair?
Yeah? They were sort of gliding around each other. Beautiful. My dad.
In a lot of ways, this was not the movie I expected because I don't want to say it's not really about the hawk, it's about her. You know, just from knowing nothing about it, my expectation was that it would be kind of a nature film, you know, like they find this hawk and they fix it and, you know, it's sick and they release it into the wild and all that kind of stuff. And it's completely different. It's really about her, and the hawk is this metaphor. And I think that's important because in some ways it opens up very fast and it closes very fast. And the middle is just this kind of almost excruciating attention to her psychological collapse and her breakdown. And I think if I thought about it that way, it came together a lot better. You know, it seemed to have a more of a unity. So anyway, that was my, you know, the thing I was thinking about.
Now, what struck me, I think, from the start was the sheer texture of the film. Like, it's filled with textures and the play with the light, the feathers, fabric, patterns of tree branches clumped together, the wheatgrass, you know.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, beautiful filming. Really lovely.
The cinematography is fantastic. There's a shot of her face in profile. It's not 100% profile and it's not 3/4 profile, but it's enough for us to see the silhouette of a tear on her cheek as it starts to fall. And it's like this amazing, amazing shot. She's starting to cry and we just see this tear, but it's in the tear, you know, it's a silhouette of the tear in the cheek. It's really, so the cinematography is fantastic.
My dad, he was a quiet man with a camera.
Watch carefully so you remember what you've seen.
And he was the only person who understood me.
Her mother or somebody says to her she's identifying with the bird, which I wasn't really sure about because the bird is so strong and she's so weak. There's an opening quote about Rosalind Franklin, who worked with Crick on the DNA and how women don't get credit for science and all that. And that's a story that's been told and it's well known. So I couldn't see her. She's not like identifying that way. In some ways, she's an enigmatic figure. And her dad is obviously this super overachiever. I mean, there's a scene where he's telling her he's hanging out of the helicopter and he almost falls. And she's not that. You know, she's not that as an academic. And she's not really that as a hawker, as a falconer. She's really trying to find herself. And I don't know if she's comparing herself. And this, if I'm thinking about why where her depression comes from, aside from the fact that it's just clinical. But I mean, it's obviously the loss of the father. But it seems like there's this way that she doesn't fit into the world. And there are all of these other role models that she doesn't match up to. The bird is really good at what it does. Her father's really good at what it does. And she is really good at what she does academically, but it bores her. And so she's trying to find out what the new thing is. And that's an interesting kind of a question.
Well, I like the point about overachiever and desperation, because I thought she was pretty desperate about the hawk.
Oh, she's definitely
Certainly,
desperate about it, but she's not
yeah.
particularly good at it.
It takes time. I see.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean, her
because she's
friend
kind
is way better at it than she is.
who is?
The other guy,
Yeah,
the
because
guy
he's
that she
he
goes
is.
out with, and he says, "Calm down, you're freaking the bird out." And I mean, he's really good.
Oh well, he is the hawker. Like that's his
Right,
job.
right.
She
Except for
hasn't.
the guy
She's
that she bought it from. Yeah, absolutely.
I want a goshawk.
Goshawks, the wildest and maddest of raptors.
no, because she's grown up with hawks in the sense that
Yeah,
she's gone to him since childhood. She's had this interest in them, and then it sort of not evolves, but bursts to the surface.
yeah. Because when
That
she
she,
picks
she
up the bird from the boat, he says, "Haven't you done this before? I thought you did this before." And she says, "I have, but it's been a while."
yeah,
But
because she
and
went off.
never with the goshawk,
Yes, yeah,
which
she went
is
off to academe, and it was all a different path altogether.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that note is the desperation and not feeling that she fits in, and she's trying to achieve. Yes, she's trying to live up to it. Not expectations though, because it never seems as though anything is expected of her. But perhaps that's part of the problem.
yeah. I mean, her father said she tells her dad, I don't think I want to be an academic anymore," and he kind of goes, "Okay." Whereas a regular parent would go, "What are you going to do?"
He's kind of very accepting, which is probably why she misses him so much because he's
Yeah,
kind of the steady, pole that says, "Yeah, okay," and lets her think it out. Like, oh yeah, what am I gonna?
yeah.
So
I
she's already like sort of not quite in her place yet. She hasn't found her place yet when she's talking to him. So
yeah.
it all happens all at the same time, doesn't it?
When I call her, then you let her go. Good girl. I'm going to call you Mabel.
Helen, human beings can't live this well.
It's a film with all of these many entrancing scenes of near silence.
Yeah.
And the only dialogue is this very primitive, forceful flapping of wings.
Yeah.
You sort of get to tune in with the bird and the sounds it makes, even when it's not actually speaking, it's not emitting, its own language. It is making sound with its wings. It's communicating in a different way. And it's just wonderful. And there's spaced across the film, I think, in a really well staged sequence. And it's the quality of the silences, the dramatic intensity of the silences. It's a collage of silences, and they're all sewn together between quiet scenes of human interaction, on a quiet thrum. And it's a very relaxing film, I think, very good for just calming and centering yourself. I think made a change from action
Oh
thriller,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
It reminds me of the Dogma 25 films, who are Danish filmmakers, and they have this whole kind of reaction. It might be 20 years old or 20 years old now. They write a manifesto, and they're reacting against exactly what we're talking about, the big Marvel movies and all that. And they have a whole bunch of rules, and the rules are almost a return to Italian neorealism.
Yeah.
No music, no sound effects, no special effects, amateur actors, and this isn't that all the way, but it isn't very cinematic in the sense that the big Marvel movies are. It's very naturalistic. The shots of her, the shots of her father. There's nothing tricky about it. There's nothing
No, no.
techniquey about it. It's very, very much like life observed.
Yes, but the cinematic moments for me come in with with the bird
Oh,
and
the
with
hawk.
everything
Yeah,
in
yeah,
its world with the
yeah.
hawk.
When it's
Um,
flying at you and stuff, and
every aspect of its life, basically, they capture on film, and they do it in this. That
yeah.
for me becomes the cinema.
Yeah. And I have to
It's
say, as a vegetarian, I was happy that they didn't, it isn't particularly gory. So if anybody's kind of squeamish, I mean, she hunts the other bird and she eats the other bird, but we don't see the middle part. So
We
that's
don't have
good.
to see that. No,
Good.
we are aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you feeling that you're a failure?
Well, that's just a matter of fact.
Don't be so hard on yourself. It's just working out your place in the world.
I always thought Dad taught me to be detached. But being with Mabel, it's an honest encounter with life. And now I see how engaged with life Dad was. Life's real, serious, and beautiful.
I had another question. She has this relationship with this art dealer, and they obviously have a good thing. And they're in bed, and he picks up this book on grief, and he says, light reading. And then later, he walks out. We don't know that they've broken up. And then she's talking on the phone to her friend, and she says, I guess I should have told him my dad died. It's like, duh. No, I just read books on grief because I'm, weird. I guess I have a question of what her boundaries are. Like I have this relationship, but, but that happens on one kind of level or in one sphere. And then my life, which is my dad just died, is in this other sphere, and they don't kind of connect.
Yeah, I kind of wondered whether that was an example of how she doesn't communicate with the outside world, and that this has been going on like all her life. She's been like this. This seems to be.
Yeah, because her mother says something like, "You always go too far, but you come back." At the end. So we do get a sense that she's kind of.
So
like
this is a recurring theme with her, that she can't actually say or tell things. It's like they have to come out, which I think works for a lot of us, like to a degree,
Oh, yeah.
less, more or less. But with her, perhaps it's even more so. And as you say, there are these different bubbles or spheres of information.
Yeah.
It's an early sign to us, the viewers, that there's something not quite. Yeah, there's something missing.
Yeah.
Or,
And I think there's and I'm kind of pushing on this, but it seems like in the same way that like her communication is indirect, but the
Yes.
film's communication is indirect as well. Like we have the bird as a metaphor. We have photography as a metaphor. Like photography is supposed to be the truth, and her father in that sense is a truth teller, but that's kind of not what she does. And the other thing is, in photography, you are a watcher, you're not a doer.
Mm-hmm.
And so her father is, I don't want to say he's passive, but he's in the library and he says, I could live here forever, where they're at Cambridge. And he is, he isn't taking pictures of himself. He's taking pictures so he's the passive observer of an active world.
And yet he goes off into action. Like there's a crime scene. Okay, let's stop the car. No, Dad. Yes, let's stop the car because he wants to get a photograph. And hanging out of a helicopter. There's somebody there who's not at all passive. He's a workaholic, is what I understood.
Yeah, that's true too.
So there's that going on, and
she's neither of those though. She's observing the bird, but she's trying to fix the bird. But anyway, that seemed like keep going with that idea of him as active. I like that.
And this was ultimately what sort of brought on his early demise, because he's just sort of overworking.
Yeah,
he couldn't ever stop. He couldn't sort of like tune down, tune out a bit, relax, and so on. There's always something else to go and look at. But she has a certain element of that, in that she is restless, isn't she? Didn't you find?
She is, that she's searching. I think another metaphor is the Thames, where they see the root of the Thames and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Like the Thames is a really big, important thing. And yet, this is the same is true of like, I had friends who had a house on the Hudson River, upstate New York. And, you could swim across it. It was 50 feet wide. And of course it becomes the Hudson River. It's a mile wide.
Wow. Yeah.
So, I mean, this idea like that big things are hidden, that there's subterranean stuff, whether it's psychologically or physically. I thought that was really an interesting motif, and all the way through the film. that that nothing is taken for granted. Everything stands in for something else. And she, in a certain sense, can't come to terms with that. I think she's trying to be like, she's trying to connect. And I don't want to say it's like a hall of mirrors, but if your whole world is metaphor, then you don't have realism. And then you have this kind of demise.
Yeah.
Now that's pushing her too far. It's making her seem like she's schizophrenic or something, and she's obviously not. But
No,
you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I teach a bunch of undergrads at Cambridge.
Hi, everyone. But I'm not dealing with things very well at the moment.
Professor? Sorry, yeah, great.
I need something different.
The film is completely metaphorical. Because at the end, she's sleeping in a box, and the hawk is not sleeping in a box.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in this big box on the floor. So
Yeah.
she's in the cage and he's not.
Yes.
I have to say the funniest part is when they do the themed coffins. Which, in a movie this in certain sense, this dark, that comic scene is quite funny. And they're giggling, and the woman kind of doesn't get it. And we see a picture of one of the coffins, and it has columns on it. It's like, oh my God. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh, by the way, just so you know, I've already figured out for next Christmas, for your penny blood present, I have been looking for goshawks online. You can get one for a couple of grand. And I thought in your apartment it would go well. And this would, because I know you wanted to get a cat, and this would make things interesting. You could have cocktail parties just like she did. Anyway, always thinking of you.
I'll squeeze them all in. And I'll just stand in the corner with the gospel.
I was shocked to find that they're available online. And
that is quite
there's different
shocking.
people selling them.
Oh gosh, that's
Good girl. I'm going to call you Mabel.
Smile.